a boy's name. Otto is not a boy's name. Otto is a boy's name. And my name is Luca. And I'm not a boy's name.
My experience with gender is complicated, and in school I found that even though my family and my friends were very accepting, that I wasn't fitting into stereotypes, gender stereotypes. I just never felt comfortable. I really felt like I didn't fit society's idea of what a girl was supposed to be. And then in grade 2, I realized society had definitely a role for me, and I didn't fit. And I was brought up Catholic, so I horrifically remember my first communion, and it was just embarrassing. It just didn't feel good. It didn't feel right.
Gender is instead of the sex that you're born with, is the sex that you feel inside and that you want people to know you as.
Gender and sex are much, much, much different. Your sex is if you have a vulva or penis, or sometimes, but this is very unusual, both. Sex is that, but then gender is what you feel like on the inside, and sex is what you feel, what's on the outside.
Gender Splendour is now a week-long event in our school. We collapse our regular programming and we mix all the students up into multi-age groupings. So we have several groups of kindergarten to grade 2 students and a few groups of grade 4 to grade 6 students. And we really believe in the multi-age grouping because it's collaborative and there are opportunities to learn from each other and with each other.
Gender is not what other people say you are. You can choose. Choose what gender you want to be, even if people say that you can't be that.
I don't think there should be such thing as gender because it really makes issues, because it makes people get teased for not being the gender they were born with. It makes people get confused about being both or neither. And it makes people think that they're not allowed to marry who they love. So I think there shouldn't, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be any gender.
I don't think I would even use the terms gender neutral. And in the world of justice, I don't think there's ever a neutral place. You're always in a position. I prefer the term gender critical. It's not that you're trying to eliminate gender from the space or somehow try and neutralize gender. It's that you're inviting gender into the space and asking people to reflect critically upon it in order to learn something from it. I think that's far more powerful to say that you're trying to run a gender critical classroom or school or a gender critical family.
Workshops that challenge gender stereotypes, as you were saying, the gender binary, exploring how we sort and organize the world around us. And at the junior level, we go a little deeper into talking about homophobia, transphobia, social justice and activism, and sexism and intersectionality.
You can switch to a different gender, or you could just be both or neither, and I think that is really important for some people to be able to do that.
If there's somebody who used to be male and then transitioned to a woman, then they identify with being a woman, so then that couple wouldn't be a straight couple just because that's what used to be their sex. They would be a lesbian couple because that person then identifies with being a woman, so then they would be a lesbian couple.
I think there shouldn't be that bullying, because imagine if that was happening to you. How do you
embrace people for who they are and who they want to be and who they say they are, and don't discriminate or bully or be homophobic just because people are different?
I don't think that's right, because many bullies think that a boy should be a boy and like boy stuff, and a girl should be a girl that likes girl stuff. But a boy can be a girl, and a girl can be a boy. But they shouldn't pick on them. They're just being who they are. I would tell them probably that you shouldn't do that, because then you'll make that person feel like they can't be who they are.
Mr. Pigott washed the dishes. Patrick and Simon made the beds. Mr. Pigott did the ironing. And they all helped with the cooking. Sometimes they even sort of liked it. Mom was happy too. She fixed the car. The end. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about that story. So what did you notice about who was doing the work at the beginning of the story? Yeah.
There's this girl who gets stuck in a tower or goes into a big long sleep or gets trapped somewhere, injured or something, and the prince always comes to save them. But women need to be shown as heroes also, because I know personally, I talk and I state my opinion way more than most of the boys that I know. So I just feel like girls are underrepresented in the media.
As a girl, something that came up when I was little. I don't know, it just feels better to me.
If I was the movie director for Back to the Future, I would probably keep I would either make the boy be a girl or the mad scientist be a girl, or maybe both. That would be really cool, because then it would be like the mad scientist inventor, the woman is the one who invents the time machine, and then a girl accidentally goes back in time and has to save her family because her mom likes her. So her mom's actually lesbian, and she has to make her mom like her other mom to make them go back. So then it's like female empowering and lesbian empowering. And then in the second movie, I'd have it have a gay family. And then maybe in the third, I'd have like somebody who identified as transgender or something. So then we could kind of get everybody in the mix.
All right, so let's try this. When I say we go, you say all in. Here we go. We go. All in. We go. All in. We go. All in. And the next line is, and if we all fall down. Try this. And if we all fall down. Then we say, we will rise up and we'll be stronger somehow.
I identify myself as both. And instead of saying they or him or her or she or he, I most prefer when people use my name, Serafina.
That's a wonderful name.
Thank you.
My friend is both girl and boy and has 2 dads. Well, they kind of came up of the idea for me to be a she, and I liked it that way. But if I didn't like it that way, I would ask them to call me a he.
So affirmation means that that the adult in the space or the others in the space simply acknowledge the young person's right to their own identity or expression, however that may appear. So the right to use their own pronoun, right? The right to dress as they feel most comfortable, or to take part in activities that are most comfortable or feel most appropriate to them. We will honor you for those choices, even if they contradict society's expectations. I guess at a gut level, that makes a lot of sense to me, that would produce young people and people in general who feel healthy and empowered. But this growing body of research is saying, when we don't do that, we run the terrible risk of spiraling into the types of things that we want to avoid at all costs: the anxiety, the depression, the suicidality, those types of things.
Like what any of those words actually mean? Because we've been talking about that a lot. Yeah, Serafina.
Lesbian means woman who loves a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Gay either means a woman who loves a woman or a man who loves a man.
Mm-hmm.
Bisexual, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain.
Can anybody help Serafina out? What does bisexual mean? Ben?
It means that it's okay for a boy and a boy to marry, or a girl and a girl to marry.
Yes, that's definitely what gay means, for sure. Bisexual means you have 2 choices. Bi, what does that mean?
It means that you don't feel like either or neither.
Yeah, you could feel like either or both, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And trans. Who knows what trans is? Yeah.
Trans is like if you were born with a vulva, but you identify as a boy, or if you were born with a penis, but you identified as a girl.
The rainbow means peace to me. Thank you, Gilbert Baker, for changing the world.
And what do you feel about Gender Splendour?
I like it. Because we get to do workshops.
Well, I think that like what we're learning is really important, and it's not like, I think everybody should be able to learn this so that they can accept everybody.
We just do a bunch of workshops about gender and what that means, and just explaining different things, and we do different activities based on gender.
I really like how it's set up and how it really helps us learn more and learn new things about gender and sex and people in general. We did the a little Cinderella scene, and we talked about masculine and feminine, and then she would ask us to do the scene in a feminine way and then in a masculine way. And it was cool because one of the boys in my class picked to do Cinderella. That was pretty funny.
We also, after, had this piece of paper with 3 columns, woman and girl, woman/girl, transgender, and boy/man, and we had to like write different things that we think of, like either stereotypes about those 3 categories or just like not stereotypes. And somebody came and asked like why would there is a transgender column, because then they would identify with the other gender after, which I think is really true, because they wouldn't be identified, like their gender isn't transgender, it would then become that gender.
Boys get to do things that girls do, basically like exactly the same things that girls get to do. I don't really see any difference.
I would think that opening up gender-affirming spaces more broadly from very young in the school system would have huge health impacts. I think no matter what issue of justice you tackle, it has applications to the other issues too. So it's not just that you're dealing with gender justice, but that you'll also be talking about racial injustice and class injustice and the ways they connect.
So if we as adults are having those types of set roles specific to gender, those stereotypical kinds of expectations, children mimic that, and it doesn't take them very long to figure out, the male figure in the house only does these kinds of things. The female figure in the house only does these kinds of things. Blur those lines a bit, then I really believe children, what we do is we allow children to be who they are, and they are doing this right from the get-go. They're not born knowing they're one thing or the other. They don't even know what that means until later. So if they see models of those blurred lines, then they just are who they are. And then they'll say whatever they need to say. And as they continue to grow, they'll make their decisions, hopefully based on how their body feels, how their, thinking inside their body feels. And maybe that's why we're seeing more children saying earlier and earlier, I'm not this or that, or I'm this because right now that's what I feel like. Doesn't necessarily mean they will stick with that. It just means that they're exploring, because that's how they get through life in those early years, is they explore everything. I guess the piece that could be added into the health curriculum, which is something that I think a lot of teachers do, I guess intuitively, is add a social justice piece to it and make that maybe a little more explicit in the health curriculum, so that you are really taking on those stereotypes through social media, through television, movies, cartoons, because there's a lot of information that's being taught through those venues, because there are a lot of little people who are spending really big quantities of time in front of those screens, and they're getting a certain kind of message. So I think, I know in our media literacy curriculum, there is some attempt to address that, like what is the message in media and how powerful is media, but I think now we need to bring maybe that media literacy angle into the health curriculum under the umbrella of social justice, and to really deconstruct very explicitly what exactly gender roles are, what they mean. Is it an artificial construct? What does it look like when you take it all apart?
Arlo is a boy's name, and he also said that he'll be watching me all day, and if I tell you that, he won't say a word about what he did to you.
That's crazy talk. Just ignore him.
Well, it's hard to ignore him, but
Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. Now we have to pretend I'm Luca.
Arlo,
What? I'm sorry what I said.
should I forgive you or should I not forgive you?
I know you told the teacher. I said that I was going to say sorry. I didn't not say anything. I'm not going to watch you for the whole day. It's not a boy's name.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Apology accepted.
This is a fantastic opportunity in this Gender Splendour Week to have those voices sort of first and foremost, because teachers are sort of pushing that right up front and explicitly. So hopefully children will recognize the voices they hear and go, oh yeah, me too. I feel like that too sometimes. I would like to really believe that that would have a very direct impact.
Impact on avoiding
Self-destructive behaviors, yeah. And feeling not accepted, no place, and that there's something wrong and negative about you and how you're thinking and feeling. Yes, especially related to gender. Yeah.
What do you think about Gender Splendour being put in place in every school across Canada? Why?
Because then people would think about it more, and even though there would still be gender, in the next generation there would be much less issues about it because people would understand.
Elysian Charter School sings All In by Era.
We take the strong ones,
We take the strong ones
and the quiet ones,
and the quiet ones
and the lost ones,
and the lost ones
and the wild ones.
and the wild ones.
We take the brave ones,
We take the brave ones
and the wise ones.
and the wise ones.
We bring in everyone,
We bring in everyone.
'cause in the long run, the strong ones
to lead us through the storm.
It takes the quiet ones
to hear through the noise.
It takes the lost ones
to find a hidden way.
It takes the wild ones
to fire up a new day.
It takes the brave ones
to look fear